It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, team.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
At Rolls Rolo, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
It is the Pete Sousa Show, of course. We are presented by Slovacics. Shout out to my boy Ray. I got the Slovacics gear on today. You'll love our sausage. Oh, man, I'm telling you, stop by Slovacics. Everybody we have on this show that's a guest that's from out of town but comes through Waco for games. Talking offline with Chris Patola yesterday, who joined us from ESPN. That interview is up right now on the show YouTube if you missed it. Make sure you click and subscribe. But Chris loves Slovacics. Fran Fraschilla loves Slovacics. Who's another guy? Richie Rich Hollenberg loves Slovacics. These are all guys who come through town to broadcast Baylor games. And just some of the people who rave about Slovacics. So make sure you get out there to West if you're coming through town. And stop at Slovacics and just engage the overall experience and leave a happier person than you were when you showed up. That's what I said about my my little foray into Please Bear With Me the other night on Sunday night. I left Terrence and Scotty after doing the Please Bear With Me show feeling better than I did when I arrived. That's always a good sign. Slovacics is the same thing. Also, Crawford Austin Properties, run by my man Gordon Harriman, who, by the way, shout out to Sobriety and Gordon, had 34 years of sobriety on Monday. Pretty cool. I mean, that's Gordon's legit, dude. You can catch him on Facing the Mirror. That's also a podcast here on the Rogue Media Network. One more sobriety note. The Payoff with Pete, Stories of Sobriety, is coming back. We got our first, I'm doing an interview on Thursday night, so that'll probably be up next week. And then we're going to rock and roll. Basketball season's over for me, not for everybody else. So, yeah, we got a little bit more time to dig in, get our hands dirty, and help other people get clean, right? That's the whole deal. And one thing to start the show off with, and we'll get to some of our other sponsors throughout the show. Instant reaction off college basketball. I said the season's over, but it's kind of just beginning. Jalen Celestine is entering the transfer portal. 6'7" wing, played a key role for the Bears. 11 straight starts to end the season. He was one guy who I felt like when Baylor needed a shot, he could get it off and make it. Truly, there was a point in the season where VJ Edgecombe was that guy, and, VJ just hit a rough spot. For Celestine, he really stepped up. He shot almost 40% from three. He was a transfer from Cal. And I was almost disappointed to see how little success he had early in the season, and super impressed by, I guess pleasantly surprised, right? Because I'd sort of had ruled him out, but with injuries and other things, he got an opportunity and he made tough shots. And again, Scotty was talking to Zach Owen, who's got the Zach Owen show here on the Rogue Media Network. Scotty was doing a sports update on Zach's show, and Scotty was just explaining to him how the transfer portal, you did a good job, Scotty, about the transfer portal. Like, we don't know what it was. Like, honestly, I bet I could call a couple people right now. This just happened, but I bet I could reach out to a couple people and find out exactly what did happen. Like, there's a reason for why he left. But right now, it could be so many things, right? It could be, back in the day, you would see a guy transfer and it would be like, okay, well, he's not happy with playing time. Maybe he hates the school. Maybe he hates the coach. And like, that was usually it. Now it's like so many other things. It's cool. Well, maybe it's just one more big thing, money, because it's minutes for the NIL, and the frontier we're in now, the new frontier. It's usually minutes and money. Scotty, what are your thoughts now? Because you alerted me to this. This just came out about an hour ago.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Jalen Celestine leaving and as to why he is leaving?
Yeah. Again, you said it. We don't know. Like, no idea. Because you would think, I think often when guys have left Baylor, I'm thinking of others, it is a minutes conversation.
Yeah.
I think with Langston Love, it might have been a reality check of like, man, we've had 2 seasons where he hasn't been able to take the court very often. And maybe Scott's like, we need guys that can take the court, right? Yeah. So some of those you understand. Celestine was going to get minutes. Like, Celestine was probably a locked-in starter next year.
Yeah.
And I know we just got it might be that the kid we just signed from Oregon State, his name is escaping me at the moment. I can look in a second.
Yeah.
Is a similar positional player, 6'9" wing, who shoots well from outside. And maybe Celestine felt like he's going to take my spot and I'm going to be off the bench again. And maybe that was the conversation. But I just wonder if it's not some smaller school saying you're going to be scorer A or scorer B, and here's the check. And I guess we'll know by how quickly and where he goes.
Yeah.
But like, you just don't know. But I think what was astonishing is when he announced he's leaving, Baylor's got 3 returning players from last year's roster. 3. It's Rob Wright, thank God, right? Like that kid.
By the way, as far as we know, and Rob's a great kid. That's what we
right. Well,
that could change tomorrow.
He could announce U of H could win the championship this weekend, and he could announce he's going to play for Kelvin Sampson. Like, I doubt it. That doesn't seem like his
no,
thing.
It seems like he's building here, and all points and signs indicate.
Your point is we don't know, which is true. It's the Wild West. Like, so Rob Wright right now, Marino, Dubrovicic, and Josh O, who who knows
Yeah.
if he comes back 100% next season? We don't.
I was really looking forward to Celestine coming back. I liked his game a lot.
You
I
know
felt
what
like
he did
was
that impressed me?
underutilized.
He was better defensively than I expected.
Yeah.
He really held up defensively lately.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know where this goes, but we're going to continue to find out. I was talking to a buddy of mine this morning, my buddy Tony Hayden from Philly. We were talking about John Gallagher, who's the head coach in Manhattan, and we were talking. Johnny Gal he's just a feisty dude who wants to work on basketball 24 hours a day. He's just a complete psycho. So we talked about how the transfer portal era is like perfect for John Gallagher, because John Gallagher, as much as he's a charismatic guy and an amazing dad, he would tell you basketball is his life. And I believe certain guys get a certain enjoyment about like, okay, now I can continue to hustle. This is the next thing, the transfer portal. I can go crazy this summer. There's other guys like, I would think Scott Drew, who's got maybe a little different and has, again, not a shot on Gal or any other guys, but life is bigger than basketball. So
it's a different approach. Yeah.
Maybe this is a pain in the ass for guys like Scott, like the portal, because you're older, whatever. You know, John's my age. We're both younger than Scott. And there's maybe a little bit more of a fire in the belly, you know, where okay, now it's a transfer portal time. Let me go nuts to see who I can get. But it just doesn't stop for these coaches. You know, it does not stop. And everything's on the table. Everything's legal now. As far as like, there's not really
there's no restrictions.
Dude, I'll tell you a quick story. I was at USA Basketball in 2004. I was a media relations intern, but I traveled with the women's team. On the women's team was Candace Parker. Okay. Candace Parker was going into her freshman year at Tennessee. And the head coach of this women's team, or the assistant coach, was Carolyn Peck, who's now on ESPN. At the time, she was a head coach of Florida. Candace and Carolyn developed like this really strong relationship. We had gotten, you know, it was one of those traveling deals. There was a hurricane that hit San Juan, Puerto Rico. We were stuck in like Miami. We couldn't get to where we were going. So there was a lot of downtime. And I remember on the back end of that trip, there was a huge dust up. Like, was Carolyn Peck tampering with one of Pat Summitt's players? Right. And it was a huge deal. I don't even know how they go into that. Like how these college, like, you know, these USA Basketball teams with the college coach, like, it's almost like you wouldn't want your players to go play, because that can happen, and it's almost legal now. Maybe.
Well, yeah. And Pete, I'm going to tell you the rule that I think will change like next season. I think it is so bizarre that we allow all of this while the NCAA tournament is still happening.
It's nuts, dude.
I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think like by next year or two, they're going to say transfer portal. I mean, heck, the night the championship game's over, great, open the portal. But I think it is so wild that all these big programs, Baylor and others, swapping players, transferring, and like Houston's playing basketball this weekend.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
I had a coach tell me this past year that what's going to happen is we'll have a team going to the Final Four, and they'll have a player that doesn't play in the Final Four because he'll transfer.
Yeah.
Or there could be very well be, and we've seen this before. We talked about it with you know, and this comes into the Kevin Willard conversation, and we'll get to the coaching carousel here in a minute. But when you have a coach, right, who is with a program, and it's rumored or like almost in pencil and everything but the black ink with the signature that he's going to go to another school, I think we'll see that coach get bumped. Like, you're not coaching our team in the tournament in the Final Four, like we saw decades ago with Bill Frieder and Michigan, when Bo Schembechler was like, you're not going to coach, Steve Fisher's going to coach, and then they won a championship. That was in 1990. But I just think it's going to get worse before it gets better if they don't do something like this offseason.
Yeah, it's just wild. Hey, I did want to say, Bear the Truth and Scotty B, the Baylor King, are swapping messages here in our comments. And I think
are we all meeting up at Slovacics?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. If I can paraphrase, I think this is a good point. Bear the Truth immediately said it had to do with Michael, and I'm going to butcher this last name, Rataj.
Yeah, that's
the transfer from Oregon State that I mentioned, the 6'9" wing, very similar profile to Celestine. And then Scotty B points out Tunde is kind of a similar player as well.
Yeah.
They're both athletic wings who can shoot from outside. You're going to rely on them defensively. I wonder, it makes me wonder if minutes did have something to do with it. But again, that's their speculation. Nobody knows.
I
We
always
just
go,
don't know.
and that's good intel too. I always go back to Scott Drew has forgotten more about basketball than I'll ever know.
Facts.
But I would say this Celestine's a known entity right now in the Big 12
Great
too, in your
point.
conference. Like he's the devil, you know. And he
Tremendous
shot 39% from three last year. And literally he was the guy, even watching that Duke game, I was like, man, they got to get a bucket here. And then he would raise for a three in the corner and knock it down. He hit some threes, like ice cold threes, like big threes. And
big games too. Houston, Kansas.
Yes. Yeah. And even losses like that Colorado loss. He was one of the only guys down the stretch that could literally get you a bucket, like raising traffic.
Other guys were cold.
No, and they could get shots off, but they couldn't make them. He could do both.
Right.
Which is essential. So
one more thought on this. The Celestine conversation, and was it the fact that maybe these two guys threatened his minutes? And so rather than stay in camp over the summer, fight for your role on the team, prove yourself against these guys, let's go transfer and play somewhere else. Let's pretend that's it reminds me of that conversation we had again on Please Bear With Me Sunday night when Terrence Ganaway, and this clip's on YouTube, it's 2 minutes. It's called Terrence Ganaway Says, Put Him on the Bench. Like it used to be that in college athletics, you motivated a guy with the bench. And that's what Terrence was saying is like, dude, you suck and somebody else passes you. Hey, you're going to the bench. And that often would create I'll prove them wrong. And instead now, if it's anything like, hey, you might go to the bench, most guys are going to go, well, no, I'll go to Texas Tech. or well, no, or even like a smaller school. I go, well, no, I'll go to McNeese. I'll go be a star at McNeese next season for Billy Armstrong. Right. Like, so it is fascinating the way that is playing out is like, and the guys that are going to get lost because they think they can transfer and then they don't give it,
I think
it's such a different world, bro.
I think one of the things that works for the small school guys or the mid-major guys is like that dude from UAB, Yax Lendeborg, who's a late first round pick, early second round pick. He actually stayed at UAB and developed into the monster that he is today. Like he didn't transfer back, right, to a mid-major from a major. And I'm sure there's cases out there that can refute this point I'm making, but he grew and developed there. I think there's something to staying where your feet are and building as a player, learning from the same coach. Like that dude Lendeborg's been with Andy Kennedy for 3 years. Now he just declared that he's either going to go to the transfer portal or the NBA.
Yeah.
Because ultimately now the kid he'll be a senior next year.
He can make money.
He can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So like I totally understand that.
Yeah, that's a case where the transfer, it's like I totally get it. We all would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
There's other things where when we talk about bench or playing time or this culture versus this culture, it's like I just don't like who knows. And what you just said reminds me, and I think we talked about this last week. I tweeted last week when Asamoah transferred. We may never get another Tarian Prince or Corey Jefferson who come into Baylor as very low, not highly recruited 2-3 star kids. And Scott Drew turns them into NBA players in the course of 4 years. But that meant they didn't have a big role initially. They sat on the bench. They developed behind other people. And then by the time they were juniors and seniors, they rose up and were stars. That's not going to happen anymore. Because now these guys transfer somewhere they can play.
I want to bounce this off you and anybody else. Get in the comments if you have a thought on this. I am so screwed up now as as a sports analyst /fan /broadcaster. When I see like Baylor signed a guy, I think from Duncanville, a football player. He is a linebacker.
Oh, from Oak Cliff.
Oak Cliff.
Yesterday.
Okay.
So,
but he's a 3-star.
Yeah.
Which like I am.
Jamarian Phillips, I think.
3 stars are great. 3 stars play in the NFL. But when I see, not all the time, but some do. When I see a 3-star, I'm like, like it's that, and that is not how it should be. But that's how. That's
you know who else was a 3-star?
Who?
No, he was a 4-star. I lied. Never
Who?
mind. I was gonna say RG3, but I think he was a 4-star.
But to your point,
Seth Russell was a 3-star. And we saw his spider chart Sunday night.
Yeah, Scotty will get you caught up on spider charts.
Seth Russell was a 3-star. I mean, like, and football is this, and basketball too, but football is a sport where, and the thing about Phillips, he's at a large, big school program in Texas, and he's led the team in tackles for loss. Like I don't know what all these talent evaluators look like.
Yeah.
But there are 5 stars who never play or have to transfer to a small school, and there are 3 stars every season who become superstar.
Okay, you ready? So let's go.
Josh Cameron walked on at Baylor.
Patrick Mahomes was not a 4-star. Okay, a 3-star recruit. Patrick Mahomes was a 3-star.
There you go.
Trent Williams, a 3-star. Okay, TJ Watt, 3-star. Travis Kelce, 2-star. Max Crosby,
Enough said.
2-star. Josh Allen, 2-star.
Mm,
George Kittle, 3-star.
come on.
Dak Prescott, 3-star.
Come on.
Justin Jefferson, 2-star. I mean, this is it. Mike Evans, 3-star. The list goes on and on.
Right.
Khalil Mack, 2-star.
Right.
Debo Samuel, 3-star. So, like, I gotta chill on the how about Deron Bland? You know what he was? Unranked. I mean, so that is
And then you have Jackson Arnold, 5-star.
Yeah.
Struggled at Oklahoma. Now we'll see if he's any good at Auburn. May be a mediocre college quarterback.
I know this, and again, we're like in a fluid space here on this show right now because we're live. Who does make I've read it, I know it, I forget it. Do you know who qualifies those guys as 5-stars? Is it like
whoever the site's hire?
Yeah,
I'm not sure what their qualifications are
Like-
before
like-
they get hired, but
because it's not
Scout and Rivals and ESPN.
it's not Jim Nagy and Todd McShay sitting in a room,
no.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
like guys who are qualified.
No, it's regional guys who that is their job. They go
Yeah.
watch tape on all these guys. They go to games.
Do they watch tape?
Yeah, I think so.
You do.
I think the good ones do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
But like, I'll give you an example. Like Grayson Grundhofer here at
Grayson Grundhofer is
thank you.
awesome.
He's so legit. He's great.
Awesome, dude.
I love him.
I got a man crush on Grundhofer. Like, because I've had to get ready for Baylor
We'll
games.
send him this clip. Yeah.
I've had to get ready for Baylor games, and getting ready for Baylor games before this is when I got my first college football assignments from ESPN, and I would like dig in. There's so much podcast stuff out there, and Grundhofer was the guy who, if I wanted to know about a Baylor player, I mean the breakdown.
He's such a good resource.
And he's right.
Yeah.
He was right.
So, but you just
and
you
he has
saw,
a vibe on what's going on with that team too.
But you saw what he said about this kid you're talking about.
What did he say?
Phillips from South Oak Cliff. He said he put up a tweet that said basically what I just said. I got that information from Grayson. Leads the team in tackles for loss. Here's what he did. He produces like crazy on the field, and then he put 4 stars in his tweet.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. And now Grayson can say whatever he wants, and that doesn't make him a 4-star recruit. But Grayson would evaluate him as a 4-star, right? And again, that carries weight with different people. But like the point is, these guys can say whatever they want. Scotty B points out Terrence Williams, who is still in my March Madness bracket with the final 16 greatest Baylor players of all time. Dallas Cowboys receiver for 6 years, 2-star.
Scotty B.
So thank you, Scotty B, for pointing that out. Yeah, there's been, story after story after story of kids, and especially in Texas, bro. Especially, you'll see my bias for having grown up here in Texas. Dawson Pendergrass played at like a 2A high school.
Franklin.
No, that's another good example.
Texas,
Bryson Washington, that's a small school.
Bryson Washington,
that's
Franklin.
a small school. There's all these kids at these small Texas high schools, or even like this kid that we just signed from this big Texas that. Like the talent pool is so deep. There's all of these diamonds in the rough constantly.
Dude, like where Christy went to high school, right? Like she went to Marcus High School. And then there's another high school, Flower Mound. They're both 6A. Like there's so many, like, and in the Metroplex period, the depth of talent in those areas, like at these 6A schools, I don't know how you evaluate them all.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like, and that's why I think some of these guys are, well, I'm not going to say they're full of crap, but I just think it's, again, Patrick Mahomes, Jason Kelce, a 2-star. I mean, and I get it. These guys develop, and it doesn't necessarily mean the analysis was wrong, but it certainly, to me, is a window into, okay, that's what they are right now, but there's a lot left. There's, the marathon is long, dude.
Big time.
And it's a war of attrition. All right, we're going to come back. We're going to break down the Buzz Williams hire. Why would anyone leave Texas A&M? We'll be back after this.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internix.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Elevate your experience with Grenco Science, the leaders in cutting-edge vaporizers. Whether you're at home or on the go, our sleek, powerful devices deliver smooth, consistent hits every time. Quality you can trust, innovation you can feel. Grinco Science. Take your vapor game to the next level. Visit us at grincoscience.com. At Terrapin Ridge Farms, they believe in the joy of effortless entertaining. Inspired by CEO Mary O'Donnell's mom and her legendary holiday parties, they've crafted a line of gourmet foods that turn any meal into a celebration. From savory jams to mustards, aiolis, and more, their products are made with love, bringing unforgettable flavors to your table. Whether it's a casual get-together or a special occasion, they make it easy to impress. Terrapin Ridge Farms, where great food and great memories come together. Visit them at terrapinridge.com. Terrapin Ridge.
Do you ever have a story that you just can't get out of your head?
One that you play the details of over and over with your friends?
Well, you've come to the right place. I'm Claire.
And I'm Susan.
And this is Justice Pending,
a weekly true crime podcast where we discuss tantalizing crimes with more questions than answers.
Thanks for joining us.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at GlobalHealing.com and OrganicHemp.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
It all began with a simple idea, cutting handles off old ski sticks to create better pull-up bars. This sparked the creation of the revolutionary Angles 90 handles. After testing over 70 prototypes with 300 athletes, our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Angles90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com.
Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovacics. I am Pete. I work for Slovacics. I basically do. I mean, they're a huge sponsor for us. Alongside Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, by the way, they are stepping up, baby. And more to come on that. But I will tell you this. This is my Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers plug. So, guys know I'm sober. I was leaving. I've been doing a good job of getting my 12-step meetings in, which is good for my peace of mind and helps me operate as a spiritual giant I have the potential of being. Just kidding, but it does help me operate in the world. Obviously, it comes back to you don't want to drink, which I haven't done in more than 13 years. But then it comes to a point where it's like kind of like your therapy, and you actually get an opportunity to give back to folks that are just coming in. I got a chance to sit next to a girl yesterday at this meeting who had one day, and she was super emotional, and that's what it's all about. I can turn to her and be like, "Yo, you're going to be all right. You're in the right place. You don't ever have to feel like this again." And then at the end of the meeting, a bunch of, women who've been around the program will help her out. That's what we say, right? In AA, men with men, women with women. That's an old school rule. But anyways, my friend Anna at the meeting grabbed me afterwards, and she goes, "Daniel Stark," because I'm on this Daniel Stark commercial, literally sharing a true story. Like when people stop me and they're like, "I saw you, doing a game," what am I going to say? But people say, "I saw you doing Daniel Stark." And I'm like, look, let me tell you, it's a true story. Like I was shipwrecked once upon a time. And Daniel Stark came through and made my life a lot easier. And truthfully, there was no like financial windfall, but there was and there, by the way, look it up. They'll take good care of you, and get you whole. And sometimes that does lead to a windfall. They've won some amazing cases, but for me, it was just like, I don't want to deal with this stuff. It's super uncomfortable. And when insurance companies get involved, I'm getting screwed. So Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers is the real deal. And I'll tell it to anybody who asks or brings it up. Even if you don't bring it up, you sitting at home. I'll tell you what, who might need Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers this morning? Texas A&M. I mean, after our segment yesterday, which Scotty just ran roughshod through the program. By the way, I re-listened to that segment. It's up on YouTube. It's a great segment. And I don't ever want to seem like I'm coming down on A&M or I don't like A&M. I have enjoyed every experience I've had there. The bottom line was we broke out on paper or on the interweb how they had done historically and how it matches up to the lofty expectations that come with that program every year, and the pomp and circumstance that comes with it every year. And it doesn't necessarily fit. And we did this segment about an hour before the news that Buzz Williams accepted the head coaching job at Maryland, leaving Texas A&M. So again, like, why would you, like, if Texas A&M is so amazing, you're in the SEC, okay? Those facilities at A&M are overwhelming. How amazing they are. Clearly, you can get just about anybody to go there. Again, it's follow the money, right? They must be backing up the Brinks truck for Buzz, because when Kevin Willard left Maryland, apparently there was like $5 million a year for him on the table. And he had entered Maryland making $3.9 million. So it is very likely that it was just an offer that Buzz couldn't refuse, right? Which, look, man, like, this isn't a knock on him. I mean, a lot of times, like, you've got a family, you want to move. I get it. What's our boy Scotty saying? Scotty P.
He says this is a big blow for the Aggies. Expect players to hit the portal.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's a huge blow for the Aggies. And I talked to a friend of mine yesterday in college basketball, and we were talking about College Park in Maryland and about, even as far back as Mark Turgeon, and Turgeon was there for a long time. It's a unique area. Like, you're not in the ACC. It's a unique job. You're not in the ACC anymore, which is what they hung their hat on for so many years, because Gary Williams and Lefty Driesell before him, and then Gary Williams built this amazing basketball program, which ultimately culminated in an NCAA championship for Gary Williams in the early 2000s. And the program has fallen on hard times. Kevin Willard, great. You made it to the Sweet 16. Scott Van Pelt went scorched earth on Kevin Willard yesterday. If you haven't seen the clip, dial it up, because Scott Van Pelt has been in our lives long enough now. We know he's a measured individual. So when he goes on and takes someone to task like he did Kevin Willard, I think that was illuminating for me. Basically, Van Pelt is like, think about it this way. Van Pelt's a millionaire, right? Clearly, we know it. It's in it. You see his contract. And Van Pelt is a Maryland alum, and he loves Maryland basketball. So he's like sort of involved in the NIL situation. And Maryland was giving Kevin Willard everything he wanted and more. And Willard was he had him on the ropes, right? He had him on the hook, like, oh, I don't know. Literally. And so, as Van Pelt puts it, he had these good people who are trying to collect money for Kevin Willard. By the way, these guys are doing it like, it's not a hobby, but like, they're not getting compensated. A lot of these collectives, so they're running around working like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, trying to get Kevin Willard the resources he needs to stay at Maryland when he's never going to stay there. There's by no means was he going to stay there, which is morally, that kind of blows. And a buddy of mine, I'll just say, I have a source who basically used to coach with Kevin Willard. Okay. And this goes back to my Charlotte Bobcats days. And you know, though, and this guy moved on as a head coach somewhere else now. But like, people aren't like, and so these are people that like Kevin Willard, and they're like, "What, dude?" Like it was lame. Like the way that he operated, and the way that he handled this whole thing was pretty weak. But it brings us back to the Buzz Williams situation, which is like, so Buzz is jumping ship from an amazing situation at Texas Tech, right? To go to Maryland, a program that couldn't get Kevin Willard to stay there. Kevin Willard, he didn't go to a Sweet 16 at Seton Hall, right? He went to a Sweet 16 with Maryland, obviously this year. And it's like, again, it's follow the money. It's not that difficult to wrap your mind around, really, when you get down to the dollars and cents of it. But when you look at it from a basketball perspective, it's a very interesting move. Is Texas A&M like, or should I say this? Is the Maryland coaching job that much better than the Texas A&M coaching job? Again, it's a family thing, and look, College Station is what it is. Like, the suburbs around DC are beautiful, and that's a beautiful area. Not the College Station isn't, but it's more of a hub. I don't know. I'm not going to look it up right now. I don't know where Buzz Williams' wife is from, any of that stuff, right? So there's just so many factors in this thing. But ultimately, it goes back to what Scotty and I talked about yesterday. And when you look at Texas A&M and all the excitement around it and all the chest pounding that we're the best and we're all this, it's like, dude, your coach just left to coach the Maryland Terrapins, right? And they couldn't keep their coach. It's just like, it's open season now, but like that's one more. That's not good for Texas A&M, for overall, for recruiting, for the whole deal. And as a Villanova guy, let me take it into Villanova here. I don't love it. I don't love, like, I don't want to act holier than thou, but like, how do you live up to Jay Wright? Even Kyle Neptune, by all accounts, is like an amazing man. And people make mistakes and whatever. Like, again, Kevin Willard, I'm sure, is an amazing guy. I don't know him. The guy who was an assistant for him that I know, that played for him, loves him, but doesn't necessarily agree with how he handled this. Okay, so he botched, LeBron James totally, screwed the decision up big time. I mean, like, it happens. Now, LeBron was much younger and outside influences, but like, people have made bigger mistakes on huge stages. And he certainly didn't do anything criminal. But it's not the best way to enter a job situation. And so, as far as like the Villanova basketball family is concerned, I wonder, Coach Wright, Jay Wright, was quick to put out there was a really nice quote about, playing against Seton Hall when Jay was coaching Villanova and how difficult it was. I hope Kevin Willard does really well. I hope he buys my mom's house. I can guarantee he would want it. We need somebody to buy that goddamn house. I was talking to my brother yesterday. For those of you who don't know, God bless my mom. She's in her 80s. She lives in the house that we grew up in. It just, like, by happenstance, dumb luck, my parents bought the house 47 years ago. And the area around it has just become this, like, amazing place to live, especially if you have any affiliation with Villanova. And so Michael and I, my brother, were talking about, maybe we'll just sell the house right out from under her. Is there any way we can take like a power of attorney and just someday we just show up with moving trucks, like, all right, you're out of here. Kevin Willard's moving in. But we would never do that to my mom. But yeah, I hope things go well for Kevin Willard. It's a big deal to me if Villanova does well. One more thing I wanted to touch on, just a personal story about Villanova. Yesterday was a big day for me. Big day for a lot of us. 40 years since Villanova won the 1985 national championship. And I was a little kid, and that whole moment, Villanova was nowhere near. I think they were a double-digit underdog in the game. They were an 8 seed in the tournament. As Michael Wilbon put it, it was not so much a basketball game, a championship, Villanova versus Georgetown in 85. It was a coronation, right? Like, Georgetown was that good. They had won the championship the year before. Patrick Ewing was head and shoulders better than any player in college basketball. So much so that there are conspiracy theorists out there that think that the NBA and David Stern rigged the draft lottery to get Patrick Ewing in New York, right? The following spring. But I watched that game again last night. Georgetown, first of all, Villanova shot 70%. So they couldn't have put, it's not like when you see upsets today, it's like, well, the other team didn't show up. They couldn't hit shots. Now, the brand of basketball was so clean and efficient. Reggie Williams was this 6'5" wiry guard from DC that went to Georgetown. Or maybe he was from Baltimore. He played with Muggsy Bogues on the DeMatha team from Baltimore. He would literally shoot jumpers. Now, there's no three-pointer, but he's shooting 20-footers that totally extend the defense, and he's not hitting the rim. I mean, this is like a Georgetown guy. And by the way, you think old school Georgetown, a bunch of guys from the inner city, they run up and down and dunk on you. No. John Thompson was playing chess. Like, lest anyone think that wasn't a brand of basketball that was heavy on X's and O's. Like, get out of here with that. John Thompson was an amazing basketball coach. It wasn't like, hey, let's roll the ball out and watch my guys dominate your guys because they're better athletes. No. This team was efficient. They were intense. They were in your face. They were scary, okay, this 85 team. And Villanova didn't blink. And the game in itself was amazing. And Georgetown played very good. Villanova played perfect. And that's what it was going to take to beat Georgetown. And for me personally, my mom didn't work at Villanova yet, but again, she went there. She never graduated, but she went there. She worked there. The next year she would go back and work at the athletic department. So she was very much like affiliated with the school. And I was at St. Thomas Good Counsel the day after they won the championship. And my mom showed up. I was like, is somebody dead? I was probably 8 years old. And she pulled us out of school, me and my two brothers, to go down to the city and watch the parade, dude. And we watched it. My father had an office working at Amtrak. I think at that point his office was on Market Street, like Suburban Station. So it's like, I think it's like around 15th. Don't quote me, but Suburban Station, it's right down in Center City. And we could see the parade route from my dad's office. It was amazing. But then here's where a dramatic turn takes place. And this is like the underbelly and the black guy on this championship that people don't like talking about anymore. I think it was a year or two later, my mom came home. She was working in the athletic department at the time, and she was like in a bad mood. I mean, and she had all the intel on what was going on, right? She was like not herself, but my mom also she had a big matzo ball, right? She couldn't wait to drop it on me and my brothers, I think. And we were like, what's going on? And I remember the words coming out of her mouth, Gary McLean is a cokehead. And Gary McLean was the point guard on that team. He was the MVP of the Final Four. Watching that game last night, I always say this when I call games, the ball was a yo-yo for Gary McLean. I mean, he was unflappable in the face of frenetic defensive energy from Memphis State, from North Carolina, and the round before that, and then ultimately Georgetown in the championship. And the guy was ice cold. I mean, he was amazing. And he was basically the maestro of that Villanova attack and that 70% shooting performance against Georgetown. I mean, he had, I think, 8 points in the championship, but it wasn't about, it was like you talk about that, what does this guy do that you can't see in the box score? That was Gary McLean. And so my mom tells us that. And my mom, the story was already out. My mom wasn't by any means like part of the coaching staff or like in Gary McLean's life like that, but she worked in the athletic department. And so now the reason my mom knew is because in the coming weeks, there was going to be a Sports Illustrated article, and Gary McLean had confessed to abusing cocaine and using it during the Final Four against Memphis State. He said he did coke before the game or at halftime, either or. And then in the article, which was a cover story on Sports Illustrated, right? It said "My Year in the Clouds." It was like a mural. It was a beautiful painting of Gary McLean. And apparently he got $75,000 for the article. And he ended up the next day after it came out, he was on Good Morning America. I searched for this article last night because I did such a crazy deep dive on this. And he's being interviewed by Joan London on Good Morning America. And I used cocaine a lot when I was at Villanova. I used it at halftime of the Memphis State game or during the Memphis State game. This is a semifinal game, guys, right? Like, it's unbelievable. And at that time, remember Len Bias, I think, had just died from cocaine intoxication, a Maryland basketball player, in between Villanova winning the championship and this article coming out. And the story opens up in Sports Illustrated that Gary was so high on cocaine that they were at the Rose Garden visiting President Reagan, and he was so whacked out on coke, he was ready to smack the president in the back of his head. That's how just jacked this dude was on cocaine. I mean, and back in the day, I'm a recovering addict. I can't imagine the stuff they were getting their hands on in the 80s. I mean, the guy must have been zooted out of his mind. But it really screwed up the celebration of that team, that championship. The university has done a wonderful job navigating it and moving through it. I think that Gary's teammates were like, look, did they party with Gary? In the 80s, a lot of people were using that drug. And a lot of evidence out there shows, although some people will refute it, but like more overwhelming evidence shows that people didn't know the downside of it. It was viewed as a drug that was left for high society, right? Like then when crack cocaine came in, that was for the dregs of society. But like cocaine was like, it was a powerful drug. And so sure, like maybe some of Gary's teammates partied with him. It was more like that time. But we're not talking about guys abusing the drug and using it in the middle of games. Like we're not talking about cocaine addicts, which clearly Gary had become. And it was a wild time. Craig Miller, who came on the first iteration of this show years ago, who was a sports information director for that team, tells a story. The day that it came out, like Coach Massimino had a press conference, and he says, like, I did not know that Gary McLean was using drugs, because Gary in the article said Coach Massimino knew, but he didn't like pursue any. He knew. He told me to stop, but I didn't stop. Whatever. Coach Mass refuted that in this big press conference, and Craig told the team, he's like, look, there's going to be media out here when you leave the facility today. Just walk to your cars. Don't don't make a big deal. And Conley Brown, this big 7-footer from Orange, Texas, walks out in the parking lot and is like this, like he committed a crime. It's like cameras get that image. So I hate to like bring up the underbelly of such a special time, but it's impossible for me and my connection and kind of how that whole thing played out, especially with Craig. Craig is like a big brother to me. He's a mentor to me. He gave me an opportunity at USA Basketball, which ultimately kind of got me in the door with this whole deal years ago. So that was just for me as a kid to see how that played out. It was the most amazing thing to have a front row seat for all that. So I wanted to share that with you guys. We got one more segment coming up. We're going to revisit the 5-star conversation. The Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacics rolls on after this.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. BizChair.com, your one-stop shop for premium commercial furniture that blends quality with affordability. From ergonomic office chairs to durable restaurant seating, we cater to diverse industries including corporate, medical, hospitality, and education. With over 20 years of experience, we offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environments. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at BizChair.com to transform your business. Level up your game with Corsair, the global leader in high-performance gear for gamers, content creators, and PC enthusiasts. From award-winning PC components to premium streaming equipment, smart lighting, and esports coaching services, Corsair delivers an ecosystem designed for peak performance. Whether you're a casual gamer or a pro, alleviate your setup with Corsair. Shop now at Corsair.com. That's Corsair.com. Corsair. At Mitzi, we believe the right light can transform any space. Born from a third-generation lighting family, we craft beautifully designed, premium lighting that's made to be affordable. Inspired by Grandma Mitzi's eclectic style, we're on a mission to make high-quality lighting accessible to all. Whether you're updating your space or adding a unique fixture, Mitzi has the perfect design for you. Beautiful, well-made lighting without the high price tag. Discover your perfect light at Mitzi.com. That's MITZI.com. Mitzi. Founded in 1910, Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Made to the highest standards, our products won't let you down. We give you the confidence to get out there and explore. Inspired by the past, devoted to the present, and built to inspire a multi-generational future, Samsonite is here to elevate your journey. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro. At Angel Bliss, we believe every parent's journey is a beautiful adventure. Our mission is to make it joyful and stress-free with thoughtful, safe, and innovative products. Born from a love for family, we promise peace of mind for parents and comfort for babies. From playtime to bedtime, every Angel Bliss product is designed with care, reliability, and a style to nurture the special bond between parent and child. Angel Bliss, creating happy memories, one baby at a time. Visit us at angelbliss.us. Angel Bliss. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
The Pete Sousa Show, we're back in business, presented by Slovacics. Mavericks, first of all, a wild night in the NBA. We're going to keep it close to home, though. The NBA is ramping up at just the right time. I'm just about ready to bring NBA Pete back, and we'll be excited about that. So but I want to talk about the Mavericks, and you got to talk about the Nico Harrison situation, what continues to play out. I think a lot that's kind of, as far as the overall national media, it's kind of over there-ish now, kind of, but maybe not really, because TMZ has given this dude a lot of love. This guy who is a Mavs fan who literally got in Nico Harrison's face with the Fire Nico chant. Apparently his phone was taken and smashed. I don't know if the phone is not working, because like if somebody takes your phone, and like drops it as they try to take it from you, that's not like taking your phone and smashing it, right? So there's two sides of the story. But I want to, this is the guy named Taylor. Now, a couple things to point out before we hear from this guy. This is an interview he did with TMZ. This is the second time he has been thrown out of American Airlines Arena. The first time for an altercation with Mark Cuban. Well, let's hear what he has to say. Scotty, go ahead and roll it.
I was not treated fairly. I was not treated in a professional manner. I was certainly not treated in a courteous manner by some people. I mean, Jason, the head of security there, I think he understands where I'm coming from, and he told me that multiple times. He treated me with respect all night, but he was one of the few. So I think that they think that my behavior justifies them breaking NBA code of conduct rules, bullying, threatening, intimidating, that somehow my behavior now justifies them being able to do that and get away with it. And this is not the first time. The same thing happened with the altercation with Mark Cuban when I got kicked out. Same type of aggressive, bullying, threatening behavior, and it's not okay. They should not be allowed to.
Right there. Because Scotty, I want you to weigh in on this as well. Okay, it's the second time the guy's been kicked out of the arena. Like, he's got a hat on. He's got the duct tape over the Mavs logo where it says "Fire Nico." At some point, I Scotty, let me get your take on this. What do you like? Is that kind of behavior over the top? And are we exhausting this angst?
Listen, let's be clear. He didn't get kicked out of any games because he put duct tape on a hat. Or I don't even think most of these people are getting kicked out because they have a chant. He's getting kicked out because he is getting, like you said, getting in people's face.
Close to people.
He is seeking out conflict.
Yeah.
And listen, y'all heard me a few weeks ago. I am off the Mavs bus. I hate them. I hate what happened to Luka. I'm all the way off. However, any organization or any property has the right to remove you at any time. They have that right. So like, don't be a jerk. Like, I just don't know how hard this is for people. Like, there are ways to express your frustration. You know, there were all those protesters the week after the trade that were outside American Airlines protesting, and like, they were allowed to do that. Like, you can express your frustration and not.
You can even go with a bunch of people and get Nico sucks going in unison.
Yeah, and here's where I gave you side eye. Is that guy's like, I can't stand this bullying, bro. Grow the freak up.
Yes.
You want to walk into a stadium and make a scene, and then you say they're bullying you for removing you for making a scene. That is so embarrassing, bro.
Yes,
that is so embarrassing. Be an adult.
Be an adult, and I feel like this guy is looking for conflict, and I'm so happy. I feel like, you know, Mike Hamilton. I feel like there was a point in his life where maybe he was like flirting with the gauge earrings, and he somehow like he avoided that. And now we've just got like,
if anybody that works at Rogue but
now we have this like perfect version of Mike. Like, you know, everybody has that moment in life where there's a fork in the road. I would love to find out how close Mike, Zach Burke, you're in here. Do you think he ever came close to gauge earrings? Zach says no way.
I would believe it.
I would believe he thought about it. I want to find out.
It's crossed his mind.
Yeah, Mike is our director of operations here. He runs the ship.
You can't call bullying when you start it.
No, you can't.
I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, this guy's ridiculous.
And yeah, if you walk into a church and try to walk up to the pastor on the stage, the good old boy Deacons Club will remove you. If you walk into the Alico building and try to walk past the guard at the front door and say, I'm here to protest, they will remove you. If you walk into a bar and start a fight, the bouncers will remove you.
Yes.
So what makes you think you can walk into American Airlines Center, try to start a conflict
with an executive?
Yes. And then they remove you. And you're like, I can't believe they treat fans this way. Bullying, bro.
And TMZ sucks.
I'm glad.
Kind of like giving this guy platform.
But you know, they're going to make their money, like get their content. But listen,
And
Bear the Truth summarizes it perfectly. How about just stop being an a-hole?
That's it, dude.
That's it. You
it.
can protest and express your frustration in plenty of ways that don't get you kicked out of a building.
I got one more thing I wanted to hit before we get over to Cam. Cam is coming behind us. Something hit me last night because I love documentaries. I love documentaries. Unfortunately, I've noticed for myself that I was never a voracious reader just because of my dyslexia and ADD, but I did read a bunch of books, and you know, I especially nonfiction books. That was my sweet spot. But then when documentaries came into play, and especially in the most recent years with podcasting, documentaries more so though, because I think that they do a wonderful job when done the right way of telling a story. Documentaries are unbelievable, but the problem is it's much easier if you're a talented writer. It's much easier to write an amazing story or book or piece than it is to make an amazing documentary. And what I mean by that is when you have the bones to be a great writer, right? Like you witness an event, you conduct an interview, and you have this talent and this ability to get what's in your mind on paper to convey a powerful message and the truth, hopefully, right? We are now so, as a society, let me just talk about me. I am so reliant on documentaries now to tell the story that there just simply aren't as many pertinent, well done documentaries out there to tell all the stories that we need. And I'm seeing that as a problem in society. Like, I go back to my segment about Villanova basketball, right? I wanted to watch a documentary about Villanova basketball. I wanted to read about this Gary McLean controversy that I brought up. There was one documentary that I could find. It was the HBO, and it's amazing. It's called A Perfect Upset. I shared it yesterday on Facebook, and it kind of covers the whole thing. But that's one documentary, and it was like 15, 20 years ago, right? Like, there's a bunch of articles written, but like, who wants to dig into? I want to watch, right? And I think that it's a dangerous time we're living in, that we are now becoming dumbed down to watch television. And now what we do is we watch these YouTube like videos that aren't documentaries, that are like so sauce. You know, I mean, they just are. And people are getting their news from that. It's a scary time. So like, do yourself a favor today. Like, try to read something. I'm going to do it. Like, try to read a real article about something you're curious about, as opposed to scouring the internet. Not like people can't make stuff up in articles you read, but I just think that you're more apt to get a good story and good details and a fleshed out version of whatever you're looking for in an article, as opposed to searching for a documentary that will eventually give you what you want to see or what you're looking for, and will give it to you poorly. And ultimately, and there are amazing documentaries out there. Like I always say, the People versus OJ is the best documentary ever. OJ, I always screw this up. Is it OJ Made in America? Yeah. OJ Made in America was a 2016 30 for 30 that won an Oscar. I mean, that's the best documentary I've ever seen in my life. And then there's other really good documentaries too. The Last Dance, most recently. And you could say that's a documercial because MJ had his hands all over it, but it was still pretty damn good. And we don't have that as much anymore. We don't have the ability to tell those great stories because it's hard to make an amazing doc like that. It takes a long time. So that was something I was thinking last night and wanted to share. Like I need to get better at reading stuff. Zach, do you agree? Zach Burke agrees, because Zach's now you want to talk voracious reader. That's why Zach's the smartest guy in the room right now. I mean, I don't know what that means. He's in here with me and Scotty, but you know, you got to give a shout out to Zach Burke. What are you reading right now, Zach? Nothing right.
I'm finishing Blood in the Garden.
Oh, again.
Yeah, I'm rereading that.
This guy rereads, folks. I love him. All right, Cam's coming up. Zach's going to help him get on the air. Scotty helps us stay afloat here. Scotty Swingler on the Pete Sousa Show. We're presented by Slovacics. I'm going to be sporting my Slovacics gear all day long, and we'll be back with you tomorrow. We got Darby Brown, by the way. She's going to talk to us about Texas going to the Final Four and Texas hiring Sean Miller. I believe that Sean Miller is going to do an amazing job. I think he was overachieving at Xavier, and I believe, no, I'm serious. Scotty doesn't agree. You don't agree? Why? Real quick.
Arizona.
What about Arizona?
He did not do super well.
He played a bunch of Elite Eights. He was.
We'll see. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
All right, we'll talk about it.
This is a good tease.
We're going to talk about it tomorrow. By the way, the Braves are 0-5. Wow, that's rough. All right, we'll talk to you. Scotty wants to get in, or Cam needs to get in StreamYard, so we're going to stop right now. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Cam Stewart's coming up. Check him out on Rogue Media, The Cam Show.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is Stark.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internix.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. We are Rogue Media Sports.